Today on our show, we're talking capes, we're talking masks, we're doing flips and punching and everything, because we're talking defenders. Plus, we got some news about some awesome information for some villain movies. That's going to happen to you right now on the Nerdynomicon. Welcome to the Nerdynomicon. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Adrian.
And how was your week, my friend, my shining star, my light?
Oh my
rock.
God. I'm the rock to you?
You're the rock to me. And I can smell what you're cooking. Pancakes. It's pancakes. It's britter.
No, it's not pancakes. I like pancakes, but those are like the lowest of the top tier breakfast pastries. So it goes like French toast and waffles are like neck and neck, and pancakes is bringing up the rear. So
pancakes in the ass. I like it. Okay.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
I don't get a chance to have French toast all that often because Brooke doesn't really care for French toast. So like when she's out and about doing Brooke things, I'm like, yeah, it's French toast time. I'm gonna make that for me and Max, but usually it's pancakes or waffles.
It becomes like the forbidden, like it
does.
It's not even that it's great. It's just the fact that it's forbidden and you don't get to have it all that often. It's like a little secret.
That's exactly it. And dude, it's not like pizza. It's not like almost every type of pizza except for, Hawaiian pizza, because fuck that shit. It's not like pizza. It's not like I take a bite of it and I'm like Ryuk in Death Note. I'm just like orgasming over my apple. It's not like that. But it is like that forbidden fruit. It's just like, oh, French toast, how I've missed you. Oh, and then angels sing a little bit, and then I'm like, wow, it's bread dipped in eggs. Why am I making such a big deal out of this?
Because it's fucking awesome. Here's a question. Why we've got International House of Pancakes.
Uh-huh.
And we've got Waffle House.
Yep.
Where's my French Toast House? Why is that not a thing?
French Toast Hut.
Yeah.
We'll call it the French Toast Hut. That'll be our restaurant. We're gonna open one up. It's gonna be in South Dakota. We're going to podcast out of it, sell comic books out of one side, French toast out of the other. It's gonna be a thing, and that's coming to a South Dakota town near you.
I feel like
I'm lying about all of this shit. No. I have no desire to start up a French toast restaurant.
It can't
but I do wonder why there isn't one.
It can't be the French Toast Hut. That's just too uncultured and undignified. If it's French toast, it has to be the French Toast Maison. And I feel like we have to bring it to Vancouver or Quebec, somewhere. I feel like that's a Canadian thing. I think it's too classy for the U.S. Actually, parts of the U.S.
Well, I'm totally fine with Canadians and whatnot. I'm totally fine with that. I've got a lot of Canadian friends. I've got some Canadian family members that married into the family. No problem with that. We can go to the Untamed North. We can do that. We're gonna be opening up a French toast restaurant in the untamed Arctic North of Canada. So, Adrian, you know what I'm talking about. Let's do this.
It makes sense because they're the only ones with maple syrup good enough to like grace our French toast. We're not
completely
agreed. Any shitty syrup.
Completely agreed. And everybody's gonna be in a good mood there. We're gonna sell us some comic books. I'm sitting here with Paper Girls and Hadlopper right next to me just because I've been catching back up with them. It's gonna be great. We'll serve the French toast. You can read your comics while eating the French toast. Do not get the syrup on the comic books. That's sacrilege. Maybe a podcasting table in the back where we can be sitting there bitching about comic books while eating French toast. It'll be absolutely awesome, dude. And we're going to be in Canada, too. You know what they say about Canada. Down here in America, we're all red, white, and blue. Up in Canada, red, white, never blue. They are never blue.
I mean, when you find them under the ice in the lake because they were playing ice hockey.
Wrong type of blue, Adrian, Steve. Oh. God damn it. So we got a lot of shit to cover, man. How was your week?
It was pretty good. I was wondering how long we could draw out French toast at the beginning of our show without having plugged it at all.
Do not fucking challenge me. I will make an hour and a half show out of this. The listeners are not going to want to hear it, but I will do it. As a matter of fact, they might want to hear it. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that and Couldn't Be Models one time.
You have to go back and recut the intro. It's like, nope, we're not talking about Defenders. Nope, we're not talking about comic books or movies. We're just fucking talking about French toast.
Just French toast. All French toast all the time. It is the most inappropriately named podcast that has ever been. People are tuning in. They're like, Nerdynomicon. This has got to be all things that are awesome. French toast. 24/7, man. French toast on loop.
I feel like if you start nerding out over French toast, people might be able to bridge it.
I'm in.
So my week.
But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
sorry.
your week.
Sorry to keep derailing it to French toast, which, to be fair, is a fantastic meal both for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or brunch. I mean, it's just an anytime kind of meal.
It's a solid food.
Yeah, it's got your protein, it's got your carbs, it's got your sweets. You can toss some fruit on top of it. If you want to go, you could do whipped cream. Of course, you got to have the syrup.
You're just committed to the bit, man. You're not going to let French toast go.
Yeah, honey. Some heathens will put peanut butter on there. I'm not here to judge, but you're heathens. I'm judging you.
I'm not here to judge. I'm just going to do it anyway. It's not my function right now, but goddamn it needed to be said. I'm saying it. Heathens.
Well, I mean, I'm not here to judge because I'm not getting paid for it. As soon as we start making money, I am here to judge. That's what I do. I'm judging pro bono right now.
Well, to be fair, we also are in part a review show, so we kind of are here to judge to a degree.
I mean, we're basically reviewing people's life choices. I mean,
when it comes to French toast and Hawaiian pizza.
Exactly. I was going to say Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah. Peanut butter on your French toast and Hawaiian pizza. Pineapples on your pizza in general. You're weak. Your bloodline is weak, and you will not survive the winter. The Night King is coming for you.
I feel like there has to be more, like the French toast equivalent of Hawaiian pizza. Like, I don't know what it is. I feel like it starts with peanut butter and put something else on there, like raisins or some shit.
I was originally going to say bananas, but that actually sounds delicious. I do like bananas.
I never got the whole bananas and peanut butter thing.
I was talking about bananas on my French toast.
Oh, just bananas by itself. Well, you see, I was confused because I said I felt like the abomination had to start with peanut butter, and then you talked about bananas. So
yes, well, I'm saying if you put bananas with the peanut butter on the French toast, I initially wanted to say that, but I feel like the bananas would have pulled back the abhorrentness of the peanut butter. So I'm agreeing with what you were saying about the raisins, because raisins, they're not nature's candy. It's like nature's carob. Nobody wants carob. People want chocolate. They don't want fucking carob. Who are you?
Carobs are the little dudes that float around and shoot arrows at people, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. No, those are cherubs.
Ah, so close.
I'm in the full mode. I'm like, I'm going to agree with what Adrian says because, he's not over here talking about coming all the time, which so far I've been good. I haven't done once.
Until then.
But no, those are cherubs, dude.
Okay.
Those are cherubs. Specifically one cherub. His name's Cupid.
My week was pretty good. I think we had French toast like 3 times this week, actually. So I mean,
non-ironically?
No, I feel like
no wonder you keep jumping back on this trip. So this isn't even a bit. This is legitimately answering the question. How was your week? French toast 3 times. Boom. Drop the mic.
I think there's a market for a French toast restaurant. I don't know why no one has filled this niche yet. It's there. I mean, people love French toast, right? What was your favorite meal when you were in elementary school? French toast day.
Yes, it's true. And pizza day.
But pizza day was those little square pieces of shit. Like, it's good pizza when you're a kid, but I can't imagine eating that now. Where did you
grow up?
I grew up in Ohio. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York, man. We didn't have those little square pieces of shit. We had circular pizza. It was pan pizza. It was single serving, and it was awesome.
There's square pans. You make. I showed
there
you.
are square pans, but that's not the pizza that we had.
Before we started, I linked you a pizza shop with square pans. You tell me that pizza is not in a pan, a square pan?
No, I'm sure the pizza is in a square pan, but there's a difference between square pizza and a pan pizza. Typically speaking, the term pan pizza has a certain connotation, and it involves it being round. That's the shit I'm talking about. And you're also bitching about your little square-ass pizzas. Nah, man, we had the circular ones, and they were delicious. They weren't all that good. Part of this is nostalgia, but
So
they were fine.
So your
They were really peppery.
Was your French toast like a miniature loaf? It wasn't like slices of bread. It was just like this little mini loaf, right?
There was a restaurant up the street from me called Polly's. It was built out of an A-frame and basically a trailer. And she made her own bread, and they were big, thick fucking slices of French toast that you had, man. Like 2 of them filled you up for the day. And this is back when I was younger, me. And if you guys have seen pictures of me or know me in real life, I'm not the smallest guy in the world. I was a little butterball when I was a kid. All right, you remember Chevy Chase when he was describing himself as a child in the Stephen King miniseries of It? That's how I can talk about myself. I was FAT. And now, granted, the person that I have having this conversation with me is Adrian Steve, and I would kind of be freaked out if he got all orgasmic and goofy like that chick did. But yeah, I was a little butterball. So when I'm talking about these pieces of French toast filling me up, they would fill you up. I can guarantee it.
So this was the French toast you were getting at school, though? In your school lunch?
Fuck no.
Okay, that's what I was asking about.
Oh, the French toast I was given at school? No, dude, they were like little pieces of Wonder Bread.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Because that's how we normally made French toast at home. But when I got to school, they had, as I said, it was like this little loaf. It was almost like, think if someone made Texas toast a little bit thicker, like 1.5 times as thick.
Yes.
But,
yes, bitch.
But it was like 1.5 inches or 2 inches tall. So it was literally just like this miniature like loaf-looking thing. It was still good. I mean, you just douse it in sugar syrup and you're good to go. And they call it French toast. But yeah, that's not what we're serving at a restaurant.
No, hell no. We're serving the good shit. Dude, we've been talking about fucking French toast for like, what, 10 minutes?
I know. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I think it's kind of run its course, unfortunately. I really wish it could keep going. I would absolutely love. I know no one else would. No one else would love it, but I would love it if we could do the entire episode on French toast without having done any prep to talk about French toast at all. We're actually throwing our topics out the window.
You know, sadly, we could do it. This is basically what happens on Couldn't Be Models all the time. Like, we'll sit down, we're going to discuss wacky children's cartoons that were wildly inappropriate, both past and present. The shit that we grew up with and the shit that we're subjecting our kids to. And then we'll end up doing like a 3rd or 4th episode of the time models because we need to explain string theory to Dickie, and it just takes way too fucking long. I start talking about BioShock, Hobart starts getting drunk, and the episode just runs its course. That shit happens all the time.
And good times were had by all.
Good times were had by all, admittedly. Yeah, our time models episodes are wildly popular for whatever reason. The only one that we actually prepared for was the first one, where we keep on saying nanobots over and over again. But
so what's the classiest place in America we could bring our French toast restaurant?
God damn it, Adrian! Can I talk about the Joker? I've got a little bit of news I want to get to here.
Hold on, that's the last thing. What would be the ideal spot? How about Niagara Falls, right? Because that's like kind of hugging the border, straddling
American
two
side
countries.
or Canadian side?
Both.
Canadian side, touristy and kitschy, you could get away with charging a pretty penny over there. American side, ghetto as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, hey, ghetto people like French toast. Ghetto people got to eat good French toast, too.
I'm not talking about ghetto people. I'm talking about ghetto as fuck.
Well, I know. It's near Buffalo.
So in comic book news this week,
sorry,
fuck.
I'm sorry. Buffalo. I think I told you Buffalo is like the most depressing city I've ever driven through. Maybe it was just because it was like a super rainy day, but it's like all the buildings were gray and the sky was gray and it was just kind of very bland. And as we were driving by, there literally was this giant building. It looked like it was an auditorium or coliseum that was half torn down, so you could like see into it. And it was just like
Sadly, I know where you were.
No one was working on it. It was just half torn down. It was like people half torn down. I
actually know where you were driving to.
And they were like,
that's the sad part.
They were like, fuck this. This is good enough.
I'm done with this. Let's just walk away. Merv! Pick up the jackhammer. We're done here. The state's not paying us. But no, I actually know what building you're talking about. I know what road you were driving on.
Yeah, depressing as fuck.
That building is depressing, admittedly.
So, anyways, great week. Well, very, very busy. Lots of French toast. Still haven't determined where we can put our restaurant, but we'll save that for another episode. How was your week?
My week was fine.
Like
my week was filled with awesomeness and comic book news and shit that I can't wait to hear you get snarky about before we get to our main topic, which is big French toast loaves of awesome, metaphorically speaking.
How much French toast have you had this week?
I have not had any French toast.
Then it can't be that good of a week. It really can't. You were just talking about how it's so important, and it's your forbidden, treasure.
I had pizza though.
Is pizza forbidden treasure too?
Pizza's not forbidden fruit. Pizza is the essential fruit.
And the more you eat, the more you toot?
It's not a fucking bean. Who puts beans on their pizza?
Californians.
Fair point.
They put whatever. They just throw shit on a pizza that's a plant. They're like, it's California pizza. California, you are not getting our French toast restaurant. You fuck it up.
Are we doing Nerdynomicon or Captain A's traveling restaurant podcast?
Both?
That's a good answer. I have no qualms about that, even at all.
I feel like this is going to be a very French toast themed episode. As much as you try to steer it away, I feel like it's going to come back as a running joke.
I'm trying to, man.
I know,
We've been talking 10 minutes about French toast. I've got some shit I want to get to. We got to talk about Defenders, and you're just like, French toast.
Okay.
Now,
go ahead.
Put it down. Slap it down. Big dicks full of French toast. A French toast dick. I'm just going to put it in and around my mouth. Syrup's dripping off of your lips. Lexi Bell's getting turned on. Cats and dogs running in circles. I don't know what the fuck's happening.
But it's fine. Because you got French toast.
Because you got French toast. That's right.
Oh, that'll be our tagline.
It's fine because you've got French toast.
Your life might be falling apart, but it's fine because you got French toast.
I'll put that as the tagline for the episode. All right. I'll get you a little bit depressed here. I've got one thing. I'm going to get you a little bit depressed, then we'll bring it back with some more French toast, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to try to, bribe you with French toast to power through this episode. In comic book news, it happened under my nose, and I don't know how the fuck it happened, but it did. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is fucking back, and it's back in a big bad way. Issue 7 came out last month. Issue 8 is out this week. This fucking week, man. I've been bringing these up and I've been hyping this Archie horror line for quite some time because I am a huge fan of what they're doing over there. They're doing the fucking Lord's work. They're making all this Archie and Veronica stuff that's been big since the 50s and 60s. They're making it dark, man. They're bringing the horror elements into it. They're making Sabrina a fucking necromancer. They got Hilda and Zelda, I believe are their names. They're over there doing crazy shit. And if you're a fan of Riverdale, they've been teasing Sabrina and Afterlife with Archie all last season. So it's still not confirmed, but it's looking very likely that we're going to be getting some dark shit in Riverdale. More dark shit in Riverdale. So if you guys have not checked out Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, do yourself a favor and check it out, man. You can buy the first arcs in trade paperback. Issue 8 is out right now. Brand new issue. The variant cover looks awesome. Check it out, dude. So that's my little plug for Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Now we're going to talk about some Joker. We're going to talk about some Joker nonsense. Are you ready for this, Adrian, Steve?
Well, I had a question about earlier. So at first I wasn't sure what you were talking about with Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I was like, is this like some kind of Sabrina the Teenage Witch property? But you're saying it is? What?
Yes.
She's an Archie?
She is an Archie comic character, yes.
Really? I had no friggin' clue.
Yes. Sabrina Spellman is an Archie is an Archie comics character. Yes. And Betty and Veronica are they make a little bit of an appearance in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Okay. So, but she's a necromancer in this one. So she's like a teenage necromancer instead of teenage witch or whatever.
She is a teenage witch. She has necromantic powers. There's a lot of dark shit. I don't want to talk too much about it This is better if you just let it happen to you, especially if you grew up watching the Melissa Joan Hart show.
Okay.
You're going to see everything that you know and love, and you're going to see it subverted. It's very, very dark. It's very mature. The artwork is spectacular. The dialogue is excellent. The storyline is excellent. I can almost guarantee if you pick up the first couple of issues, you're just going to power through them.
Okay.
And you're going to get as pissed off as I am that we had to wait for a year between issues 6 and 7.
So I guess I just have one question about that, and it's just an opinion question. It's not like what happens, or it's if okay. So she's like got dark necromancer powers of some sort.
Yes.
So in your professional comic book opinion, being that it is bread dipped in eggs, which are dead chickens, could she reanimate French toast?
Yes, she could absolutely reanimate French toast. She could make it sing, dance, walk about, do the entire musical list from Hamilton.
Because I feel like that would really put our restaurant over the top if we could get that going.
It absolutely would. If you got 3 pieces of French toast up there, Angelica, Eliza, and Peggy, it would just take it over the top. Trademark Lin-Manuel Miranda, all rights reserved to him. Don't sue us, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Don't sue us.
Or steal our French toast restaurant.
Or steal our French toast. That's right. Trademark Nerdynomicon. On to the next bit of news. This one's going to get you depressed, and then we can bring it back to French toast. This will be a running theme here.
Okay.
How much did you love Jared Leto's Joker?
0%.
In Suicide Squad.
I loved him less than 0%.
Really?
I thought he was the most unnecessary part of the movie, and that includes the guy who is a grappling hook who dies in like the first 2 minutes of him being
Oh,
on
you didn't
screen.
like Slipknot? Who doesn't love Slipknot? Come on.
I'm saying
I'm like the only person that was in the movie theater that knew that his name was Slipknot. And that's only because I heard a little bit of exposition there. Yeah, that was just so completely fucked up. It's like, I don't get a character stats page. Yeah, it's because you're going to die in like 30 seconds, dude. Don't worry about it. So you didn't like Jared Leto's Joker?
I thought he was even less needed in that movie than the guy who died after 30 seconds of screen time.
Well, even about unneeded, how did you think that he did as far as portraying that character?
Awful. Just awful.
Well, what are you going to do if I tell you that Suicide Squad 2 has been greenlit and Joker is in it? Played by Jared Leto.
I ain't gonna see it, that's for sure. I'm surprised. It'd be really interesting to see how they fuck this one up worse than the first one somehow. I'm full on expect them to do it. At this point, the only way this movie could be any good is if they somehow convince Wonder Woman to make a cameo in it for some reason. And I don't know how they could do that.
Now, if that's not enough for you, if you haven't gotten your fill of loathing Jared Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad 2, which is in pre-production and coming soon to a movie theater near you, what are you going to do about him showing up in Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn spin-off?
I feel like he would have to be in that one to an extent because it's just those two characters are so intertwined. No,
he doesn't have to be in that one. He needs to go to hell. He needs to go to hell and fucking die. That was the worst Joker that has ever been shown in any medium, and that includes pixelized video games. That includes shit that didn't even have the Joker in it. You remember Batman Returns? The sequel to Tim Burton's Batman?
Mm-hmm.
He was worse than the Joker in Batman Returns.
That's because the Joker in Batman Returns wasn't awful. He was just non-existent.
That's exactly right. I preferred no Joker to that Joker.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah. Jared Leto is reported to be in Suicide Squad 2 as well as Birds of Prey. Margot Robbie will be in both, which is a bright shining light. Makes me happy. Hopefully wearing the same outfit makes me very happy. Birds of Prey is going to be her standalone film. It's going to involve some of the other femme fatales from the DC universe. We're talking Poison Ivy. We're talking potentially Oracle, potentially Batgirl, potentially Huntress, seeing as though Huntress was one of the Birds of Prey. So that I'm excited about. I'm excited to see that. Suicide Squad 2, it made the money to warrant the sequel. That was just a movie. I even said on the show when we went to review it, I think I said that it was fun, not fine. I can stand by that to a degree. It's fun in the way that a Michael Bay movie can be fun if you shut your brain off. You know, it's got a lot of bright lights and pretty visuals, but it gets worse the more and more you watch it.
Or
and
think
certain
about
scenes
it.
and certain scenes just make you violently angry.
Yeah.
So, but that's coming to us. Now, I've got one more bit of Joker knowledge for you, and that is that the Joker, my friend, is also getting an origin story movie. It's not going to be the Killing Joke, but looks like we're getting a Joker origin story.
Is that going to have Jared Leto in it too? So there's going to be like...
It is not. It is not going to have Jared Leto in it whatsoever. And let's see, the studio has set Hangover's Todd Phillips to co-write a script with 8 Mile scribe Scott Silver. Phillips is going to direct the movie, and producing it, Martin fucking Scorsese.
Wow.
So this will be the first film under a new banner that is yet to be named, in which WB can expand on the canon of DC properties and create unique storylines with different actors playing the iconic characters. So I guess already DC is really embracing the multiverse thing, seeing as though they've cast Ezra Miller as Barry Allen as opposed to Grant Gustin, who fucking deserved it for his portrayal of Barry Allen in the TV series of The Flash. It really seems like they're embracing this multiverse theory. So, as long as they give me good, compelling movies, I honestly don't care. I think DC is in such a state of disarray right now. It's in such disrepair. Dude, I think they just need to take all of the plans that they have for the film franchises right now, with the exception of Wonder Woman. Leave Wonder Woman where it is, but take everything else and nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Then we can come down and we can build on Gal Gadot. We can build from that. You can have Gal Gadot. You can cast Jason Momoa as Aquaman. You can have all this, but you won't have Jared Leto as Joker. You don't need that.
Is there some kind of a storyline you could think of where it's like a multiverse and Wonder Woman is the only survivor of a multiverse, or somehow she gets shifted to another one after saving... She, like, sacrifices herself to save her multiverse, and then somehow through a wormhole or a black hole or some shit ends up in a different multiverse where we can have, like, good actors playing the characters.
I would kind of like that. Like an awesome version of Flashpoint. I can be down for that. I can do something with that.
And do you think possibly in this alternate
Make
universe,
it happen. Bring it in.
there's, two assholes who review movies and games and TV shows based on comic books and other properties, and they're talking about making some kind of a waffle restaurant because no one's filled that niche. Probably putting it in Buffalo.
Waffle restaurant?
Yeah, it's the alternate. It's the multiverse. It's an alternate.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying in this multiverse we create the French Toast restaurant, so we have to get there. We have to create Flashpoint to get over to that reality where we can make this French Toast restaurant. Now I understand what you're saying. We make it here, and in the multiverse, we're making waffles
instead because somebody already had the French Toast restaurant idea because it's a fantastic idea, and everyone in this multiverse is a fucking moron.
Yeah. You know what, dude? If you get your camera up and operational next week for the episode, I'm totally fine with doing a live stream episode. We'll pick out some stuff that we're going to be talking about. I'll bring some news. We'll bring some reviews, and we'll do it while eating French toast.
I don't have a webcam.
So get a webcam.
But that's doing things. You know I'm averse to doing things.
I know you're averse to doing things, especially after I subjected you to 13 episodes of a girl making cassette tapes, which is just becoming a running joke at this point.
We could do 13 toasts. We have 13 different types of French toast, and we eat it. 13 toasts.
Give this man a fucking Emmy, okay? This is the next great Netflix show. Hashtag Who Drew the Toast.
We'll have to narrate why we're eating that specific toast. It's like what that toast did to us.
And at the end, Adrian's sitting in a bathtub, and you're expecting it to go sideways like in 13 Reasons Why. And he's just writhing from indigestion. You get a shot of the bathwater and you see the maple syrup just rolling.
I think we got it. I think we just made it.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh shit. Alright, Adrian, Steve, we've talked about a little bit of news. What do you say? Are we ready for our main topic? Something that we have been waiting for fucking ever?
Yeah, I feel bad for drawing it out as much as I have. We've talked about a little bit of news, a lot of French toast, and it's time for a main topic that is not related to French toast.
Not even in the slightest.
So I'm probably going to find a way to bring it around.
I'm sure you are. And obviously, judging by the title of this episode, we're talking Defenders, baby. It just happened to us. Defenders was coming like a freight train in the night. It was 4 freight trains, and it was coming right at us. And one's coming, and then the other's coming, and Adrian's standing there, and he's like, I love it. I love this happening. And then another one's coming, and Adrian's just standing there like, where's my French toast?
French toast is on the 4th train.
Absolutely. And that train's coming. Adrian's just like, I want this French toast to happen, man. I want it coming all over my face, neck, and chest. I want the syrup just dripping down my chin.
Not really.
That was graphic.
That gets in the beard. You have to like clean out the beard, and it's all sticky. Yeah, I know.
That was graphic.
I want it in my mouth, not on my face.
Fair enough. But Defenders just happened to us, man. 8 episodes. We finally got the team up that we've been waiting for. Daredevil Season 1 came out way back when we were doing Polygon Table. Ben Mishler is the one that got us or at least me, interested in checking out Daredevil, because I had no desire to check it out. No desire whatsoever. Didn't even watch the trailer because of that just atrocious Ben Affleck movie. Ugh. It was just terrible. But I did check it out. Eventually checked it out, and I was blown away by how dark and gritty and adult it was, how compelling it was, how Charlie Cox just brought such humanity to the character of Matt Murdock. Then Jessica Jones happened to us. Kristen Ritter, just so compelling. So compelling. Probably my favorite Netflix Marvel show. Probably my favorite Marvel property, period, was Jessica Jones, which also introduced us to the next one to get a series, Luke Cage. The series that was so anticipated and so just people could not wait to sit down and binge it and make it happen to them with their eyeballs, make eyeball love to Luke Cage. It crashed the Netflix servers. That happened, almost a year ago. And then from there, we go into Iron Fist, the little show that could. The show that pissed me off because it almost seemed trendy to hate on it. And it was definitely the least of all of the 4 shows, but I will stand firm. I do not think that it deserved even a fraction of the amount of hate that it got. Did it have problems? Oh God, yes. But it didn't deserve all the hate that it got. It didn't deserve to be the butt of the joke. And now everybody has come together. They've all come together right now for the Defenders. And it just happened to us, Adrian. Just happened to us. I just wrapped up with this yesterday. We tried to space it out, you know?
Yep, I wrapped up with it yesterday too.
Let's start out with initial reactions. What did you think of it? How did it make you feel? Was it worth the hype? Was it as good as the trailers?
You sure you want me to go first?
I'll go first. I fucking loved this. I loved it from start to finish. I thought it was absolutely incredible. Still had problems. You know, there were still a couple of flaws here and there, which I'll touch on. But overall, I thought that it was shot beautifully. I think the cinematography was far more subtle and told more of a story than people even realized. I thought that the acting was excellent, for the most part. There were a couple of things that I will point out is a couple of my little qualms. I thought the action was excellent. I think I felt that Finn Jones finally spent a little bit extra time, or got a little bit extra time with his choreographer, and was able to get some of these moves down a little bit more, because he looked not like a master of Kung Fu like Iron Fist is supposed to. I mean, Danny Rand is supposed to be the master of Kung Fu. He didn't look like the master of it, but he looked like someone that actually could do Kung Fu, as opposed to a guy that could do a bunch of dodging and weaving in Iron Fist. So kudos to him for that. I thought that Sigourney Weaver was an amazing addition to the cast. I thought it was cool to see how many people came back. We'll touch on a few of those once we get into the nitty-gritty, but my initial reactions, I fucking loved it. I loved it so much. There were a couple of scenes that I went back and rewatched as soon as I was done with the episode. A couple more that I went back and rewatched before we recorded tonight, which is kind of why I was a little bit late coming on. I wanted to make sure that some of these scenes were very fresh in my mind. Like I said, there's a couple of nitty-gritty ones that I'm going to point out, but overall, this is exactly what I was expecting and more. I loved it. Now, Adrian, bring us down, make us depressed, and then I'll try to pick us both back up and tell you how you're wrong for having your snarky, angry feelings about the world.
So before I start, I want to ask you personally a question on this. How spoilers are we doing on this review? Are we keeping it spoiler-free? Are we going to talk spoilers? It will just affect how I talk about the show. I will still have the same opinions, of course.
You know what? I want to talk about this show. I really want to dive in. So I'm going to declare we're going spoilers. We are not going to give a recap. The recaps on the show, we're going to kind of steer away from them. They're important for things like what we did with Death Note last week. They'll be important for a couple of other things that we've got in the works. But this is not going to be a recap. This is going to be a full-on review. So if you have not seen the 8-part series, all 8 episodes of The Defenders, pause this now, go watch it, and then come back and listen to us talk about it. Okay? Because some of the things that I need to point out, it's going to be spoilerific as well. So we're shouting spoilers, Adrian. That's your barometer.
Okay. So I can actually talk about details.
Yes.
I thought it was okay. I thought there was a lot of potential in it to be much better than it was.
Okay.
I'm trying not to be... I feel like I'm going to sound very critical of it, which is not to say that I didn't like it. I was just disappointed that it wasn't as great as I hoped it would be, if that makes sense. So if I was gonna give it a rating, right off the bat, I'd probably say somewhere in the 3.5 to 4 out of 5. It's still a solid property.
3.5 to 4 out of 5. For you especially, that's still very high.
Yeah, and that's why I want to get that out there first. I don't want it to sound like I hated this. Because I didn't.
We're going to factor Colleen Wing in as one of them, so we'll have it 3.5 to 4 Defenders out of 5.
No. 3.4 to 4 French toasts out of 5. No? Nothing on that one? Wow. I
can't even find the words.
I thought you would laugh a little bit.
I'm smiling. I just can't even find the words.
So yeah, as I was saying, I'm be kind of critical of it because I feel like we've gotten a lot of these Marvel Netflix series. We've had 2 seasons of Daredevil, 1 Jessica Jones, 1 Luke Cage, 1 Iron Fist. I feel like they should be producing higher overall quality content than what I feel we got from the Defenders, which is, again, not to say that it was bad. There were some great shots. There was a lot of stuff that was done well. Overall, I felt like the story was not fantastic. I questioned some of the pacing. Like, I understand you kind of have to show where each character is at the start of this series, and they're not together yet. But if you're only doing 8 episodes and it takes they don't meet each other at all until basically the end of the 2nd episode, I believe it was. That's a quarter of your show of the Defenders where they're not the Defenders. They aren't even in contact with each other yet.
Now I'm going to cut you off right there because pacing was an issue with me as well. And it's the exact same problem that I have with this season of Game of Thrones. It's so much exposition. It's so many characters that you care about thrown into such a small time frame. All right. You only have 8 episodes of Game of Thrones and 8 episodes of Defenders to work with. And I'm just going to jump right over to Defenders. I just use that as a parallel. I didn't have a problem with the pacing at the beginning of the series at all until I remembered that there were 8 episodes. And then I agree with you. It took... I felt like it did take a little bit long for their paths to converge. Even if you gave us 2 more episodes, I would have that criticism would fall away completely. One criticism that I think would remain is that first member of the Hand to fall. You know, the African warlord guy?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't even know his name. I felt like he was so wasted.
Yeah.
Because so many of his speeches were very good. His acting was on point. He was very chilling in what he said. The words that were coming out of his mouth, they were very upsetting and they were very unnerving. But I didn't feel invested in his character whatsoever, one way or the other. I just didn't care because he was gone so quickly.
I totally agree.
And it wasn't the manner of his execution. It was the first member of the 5 Fingers of the Hand to die in this version of the Hand that we're getting, you know, in the Marvel television Netflix universe. So I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with his character, with his acting, with his appearance, his dialogue. I thought everything was perfect except for too little time with him, too little exposition. I know nothing about this guy. Why the fuck do I care? Why was he in only 2 episodes of this series, and we had to deal with half of a season of Diamondback in Luke Cage?
Yeah.
Where was he in Luke Cage?
Yep.
That was the missing piece. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. And on the subject of wasted performances, I don't know what they were doing with Sigourney Weaver. That's not to say that she gave a bad performance, but her character seemed like they were trying to develop something, and then they were just like, psych. You know, it seemed like it just like, oh, that's it. And I was sitting there like, that's it. Like, there's this whole sickness subplot that they don't really touch on. They just hint at the beginning, which I guess is why they pushed up the plans, or she pushed up the plans, which is why everybody knew everything was going on. It was like little things like that, but I felt like it's like they were building to something and then just stopped. And then they're
it
just
felt like they were
forget it.
building to something and then realized, oh shit, we have 2 episodes left. Let's wrap this up now.
Yeah, and it wasn't a very satisfying wrap-up either. It was just...
No, it wasn't. Again, I would have been fine with that had we had more time with Sigourney Weaver to make us more invested. It was her and the Japanese guy. And that one was the most abominable one out of all of them to me because of the way Stick described him. He's the guy that pulls Nobu's strings. Nobu, a henchman of this guy, we saw as essentially one of the big bads in season 2 and season 1 of Daredevil. Nobu's been around 20 times longer than this Japanese guy in the Hand. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. I should have written that one down. I wrote down everybody else's.
It doesn't matter because there's no reason to remember it. If they say it,
that's exactly. You know what? That's exactly my point.
It's
the way Stick described him is he's the one that pulls Nobu's strings. He's always in the shadows, but when he comes about, he is an evil fuck. You know, and I'm just like, this sounds awesome. I cannot wait to see this guy in action. And that's what I get in action.
Yeah, and then they probably get beat. And
it wasn't even that. It was him standing up to Sigourney Weaver only to back down. You know, it was, you saw so many flares and so many, hints at awesomeness, but due to the sake of time, we couldn't get it. This is one of the few times we needed the 13 episodes, I feel. One of the very few times. I've said it many times, Luke Cage, because of Diamondback, could have been cut in half. Luke Cage could have been cut in half. Jessica Jones could have lost probably 2 episodes out of that. Iron Fist, maybe 1. The problems that I had with Iron Fist were not the pacing in the story. It was some of the other peripherals, which I feel that they fixed a lot of them. Daredevil is the only one that I feel really was on point. And even Daredevil, I feel, could have broken season 2 up into 2 seasons. Because there was so much material there.
And probably should have, honestly, because
yes,
it was a very different feel. And that kind of comes talking about Daredevil season 2 and Iron Fist and now Defenders League. This is essentially the third time we're seeing the Hand. And they're still not a very well defined. Like, I understand it. They're a shadow organization. I understand they've been around forever and they're almost impossible to get rid of. And it's like, but if this is the third time we're seeing them, how are your villains so poorly defined?
With the exception of Madame Gao
exactly.
and Bakudo. And I even feel like Bakudo was well flushed out.
I mean, he had his time in Iron Fist, so it makes sense. But I mean, it's just like there's 5 fingers of the Hand, and we've met 2 of them, and we only really know minor details on what they can actually do. Like, Madame Gao somehow has telekinetic powers or some shit. We don't really know why or how. We just accept it because she's old and old lady isn't going to fight like everyone else, I suppose. But I mean, like, just from a logistical standpoint, I get that.
Come here, Sonny Jim. I'm going to throw a car at you.
But the 3 other ones, including Sigourney Weaver, like, what was so special about them? Because, I mean, if they're getting taken down by a team that was just formed and by a team that probably honestly doesn't really work that well together yet, I mean, they should have gotten their asses handed to them
by these people who have obviously been alive for millennia.
Exactly.
I mean, Sigourney Weaver even makes a comment about, oh, this is just as good as when I had it in Constantinople. Oh, you mean Istanbul? Yeah, sure. Yeah. And then one thing that I did love is she starts humming that song and bobbing her head. I'm like, oh, that was perfect. Mm-hmm. I don't even think that was in the script. I think Sigourney Weaver just started doing that. I'm like, that is so perfect.
But, I mean, it just begs the question. It's like, is this the first time they've come across superpowers? Because, I mean, it really can't be because there's been numerous Iron Fists. And they've dealt with that. So, I mean...
Precisely.
How...
Look, it boils down to this. There are 5 fingers of the Hand. So far, we have had 5 seasons of these Netflix shows. And we've only seen 2. We've seen Bakudo. We've seen Gao. We've seen Nobu, but we haven't seen his boss. That is a problem that I have. We have not seen the African Warlord, and we have not seen Sigourney Weaver, a.k.a. Alexandria.
And now, at least, 2 or 3 of them, if not 4, are dead.
4. Right? 4 of them are dead.
And here's my issue with that. Just end it all. Like, I'm tired of the Hand. If you're not going to actually develop them, get rid of them all. I'm fine with that. Just we've done 2.5 seasons on them. I'm done. We're done. They should be done. It'd be like if you see the same villain over and over and over again. And it's not even a compelling villain because it's an organization. It's like this faceless shadow organization. So they can't really have any personalities because it's all random ninja number 5 and random ninja number 10.
But basically a whole shitload of red shirts.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, I don't agree with that. I'm fine with them keeping around the Hand, but you cannot give us the Hand again right out the gate. Otherwise, I'm going to give you the finger. If you want to keep on giving us the Hand, you need to slip Madame Gao, who's the only remaining member left, and you need to have her just kind of work in the shadows, make appearances in 2 or 3 episodes of whatever season is going to show up next, whether it's season 2 of Luke Cage, season 2 of Jessica Jones, season 2 of Iron Fist, whatever. Have her show up for cameos in 2, maybe 3 episodes, working with whoever's around there, and then you realize something else is going on behind the scenes. You need to build it back up. You can't just go again, oh, Hand, it's the Hand here, facepalm. You can't give that to us again. Because I do agree, they kind of blew their load and they did it ineffectively. It was a slow, sad hand job. It wasn't the blowjob from heaven that we wanted that to be. This series had a lot more of that, but I do agree with you on that. I disagree with you about getting rid of the Hand completely, but I agree with you on your feelings about the Hand in the Defenders.
I mean, I guess that's just a gut reaction. It's like, I'm sick of seeing them. And I don't think they're a good villain organization. They don't really have a great motivation. It seems like they're evil to be evil, or they're evil to have overall power and influence. Fine, I guess. I mean, if you want to say it's an allegory to capitalism or whatever, fine. But if I'm going to have a well-defined superhero with well-defined superhero traits and with a personality and ideas and thoughts and feelings and struggles, you can't constantly throw them against faceless, nameless goons and expect me to continuously care. Especially when
That's fair.
Especially when apparently the big bads of that organization that have been around for millennia are getting their asses handed to them on their first meeting. You know what I mean? Like,
when their underlings could survive for 2 seasons.
Exactly. And if we want to talk about some more writing, I don't want to say continuity errors or something, but things that didn't really make sense. It seems like the only person that really cared about Elektra, aka the Black Sky, in that organization was Sigourney Weaver's character, Alexandra, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But at season 2...
Gao and Nobu were working so hard to get the Black Sky.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, well, we don't believe in her, but we were working so hard to get her. It's just, it just didn't seem consistent. It seems strange. And so...
I agree.
Again, very, very critical. I'm touching on the stuff that didn't make sense, the stuff that bothered me because I wanted it to be 10 out of 10. And I just didn't get 10 out of 10 on this. And I think that's why it was so disappointing, because there's this build up and it's been a while since we've had a Marvel Netflix series come out. So there's always anticipation. It's like, oh, we're going to bring 4 of them together and we're going to see how they play together. And I think I wanted it to be much better than it actually ended up being, which is not to say that it was bad. It just wasn't fantastically amazing.
I would agree it's not fantastically amazing. I probably would give it a 4 out of 5 myself. It wasn't fantastically amazing. I would still call it great, because out of all the problems that I just listed off, I think those were all of my problems. Everything else about this, no, there was one other problem that I did have. It seemed to focus a little bit too much on the secondary characters, and not the secondary characters that I wanted to see more of, but the secondary characters, and I seemed to, up until the end, have less Jessica Jones than I wanted. I wanted more Jessica Jones to be in this. But instead, we got a lot more Claire and Colleen.
Yeah.
I like Claire. I like Colleen. If you're going to give me a secondary character, I wanted more Foggy, and I wanted more Trish.
Yeah.
Karen, go type something. I don't want you, Karen. Karen! Get in the other... Karen! In the other room. Go in there. Give me Foggy. Bring Foggy to me. I want my whole life to be Foggy. And I wanted some more Trish. I really want to be your friend. That's what I wanted. I wanted more Trish talks. I love Colleen. I think she is so damn badass. But it seemed to focus too much on those two and not enough on the other ones that we haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen Trish since Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jessica Jones was the most marginalized out of the 4 of them.
Yep.
Now I have said all of my problems.
Well, and the way that they utilize the secondary characters outside of the nurse and Colleen, it was very, very low usage. I felt like you could have just had them basically in that intro, in that, like, the beginning, episode and a half where they're still showing where everyone is individually before they come together. And after that, I don't think they're really that necessary. I mean, yeah, you got to put them all in the room at the precinct, but I don't think you even have to show that. You just tell them, like, we gathered everyone up there in the precinct. Boom. There's like 10 or 15 minutes of
you got to
screen time
show
back.
it, if only for fan service. But I mean, the only ones that I felt really drove the story were necessary, aside from Claire and Colleen, was Foggy. Some of Foggy's moments were imperative for Matt Murdock.
Yes.
They were imperative. That's another reason why I wanted more of them. Karen, not as much.
Correct.
And Misty Knight. You really could, as much as I wanted so much more of her, you did not need Trish and you did not need Karen.
Yep.
They were not necessary, but yet they focused a lot more on Karen than even Foggy. And Foggy was essential for Matt Murdock's character development in this miniseries.
Yep.
So,
And you know what? I will actually say another critique that I'll throw out there. I was not that impressed with the fighting scenes. They weren't as rough as they were in Iron Fist.
Really?
They weren't as rough in Iron Fist as they were in Iron Fist, excuse me. But they still weren't that entertaining. And maybe I'm asking too much or thinking too much. But it's like Daredevil has very, very good fight scenes. And
yes.
I know they did not get the same choreographer, stunt man, whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's just really difficult to make two hulking bruiser people that don't really know how to fight interesting in fights. But I mean,
are you talking about Luke Cage and Jessica Jones?
Yeah, they're not really fighters. They're just stupid strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so, especially Luke Cage. He's more of a brawler.
Yeah,
you know,
and he's like, I can take whatever you dish out, and then I'm gonna hit you harder back.
That being said, I actually disagree. I thought that the fights were fantastic. We got our hallway scene, which has become a staple of the Netflix shows. We got our hallway scene, which just made me fucking gleeful. The final battle, right there at the end, I thought that the way that was shot and the way that was choreographed, I thought it was great because it highlighted who everybody was. You've got Matt Murdock running up the stalactites and flipping onto people. You've got the Iron Fist actually doing kung fu for once. And most of the time, when you're seeing him, he's shot from behind and doing flips. So you can tell that, yes, they listen to us. They listen to Nerdynomicon. They gave him a stuntman. And then it highlighted Jessica Jones and Luke Cage being brawlers. You know, taking a punch and knocking back down. Jessica Jones just flat out bitch slaps Elektra right over into the wall. It highlighted all of their talents, and the tracking shots that they used, I thought, made it look spectacular. So, was it as emotional and exhausting to watch as some of the things that we've seen before? No. I would agree with you on that. I think that the fight scenes were fantastic, far better than anything that we saw in Iron Fist. They really stepped their game up. But they were not the hallway fight scene in Daredevil Season 1. They were not the stairwell fight scene in Daredevil Season 2. And they certainly were not the Punisher fight scene in the prison in Daredevil Season 2.
Yeah. Which
I would have to say are the three best fight scenes in the entire Marvel universe, cinematic and Netflix. Yeah. I think that they're some of the best fight scenes ever choreographed, period. They're on par with Game of Thrones. They're on par with Battle of the Bastards, which took 2 weeks to film. That one scene. So that's a tough nut to crack. Now, I think that part of the reason that they're so impactful is because the fights are done in one shot. They're tracking the one character, and it's just everybody converging and attacking on that one.
Right.
Whereas this is meant to be a full battle. You don't get the single tracking shot because some of the people don't have their stunt doubles, like Danny. For whatever reason, they never gave Iron Fist his mask. So in order to have it look visually impressive, you're going to need to have cuts.
Yeah.
So I think that the tracking shots and them emphasizing the battle styles against the hand ninjas, I thought was exactly what it needed to be. I thought that all of the fight scenes in there were quite good. I thought that Elektra's fight scenes were spectacular. I wish that there were more of them. You know, I wish that we could have seen more. I wish that the series was longer, because I feel like most of my qualms and quite a few of yours would probably fade away if it was longer.
Potentially, they'd probably have more time to work on stuff. And I think with the fight scenes, it was a little bit choreography, but primarily I thought there's a lot of quick cuts, and it was very dark. And so it was difficult to see what was happening. So if there was good choreography, it was kind of hard to see.
And like I said, I can guarantee you, even if you didn't realize it, because I definitely talked about it with Brooke when we were sitting there watching it, it was probably also the lack of emotional investment.
Possibly.
Because I mean, keep in mind, when you first saw that hallway fight scene in Daredevil, it's one shot, and it's to rescue a kid that has been taken by the Russian mob that's going to be sold into slavery. And if you've ever been in a fight or ever seen a fight in real life, like even, an MMA fight, you know, if you see them in real life, because they're not cutting away. You can't cut away when you're seeing things up close and personal. You're seeing the exhaustion coming from this person. And that's what you saw in a lot of these fight scenes. You're seeing them going full in. You're seeing him taking the punches, not just dishing them out, but actually having to take some and then feeling the effects. You know, his head's kind of knocked around a little bit. You're seeing him slowly get up, and he's kind of wobbling from side to side, and then jumps up and does his kicks, and then falls down same as his opponent. The fight scene itself was exhausting to watch, let alone, I'm sure, shoot. Mm-hmm. So, and that is something that we did not have in the Defenders. So yeah, I guess part of the lack of gritty realism or gritty emotional investment was lost in some of these cut shots. I can agree with. I still think that they looked great, and I think that they're probably the best you could hope for with an ensemble like what you have. Does that make any sense?
I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure I agree with it, but I'm not going
to
fight
and you don't.
On it.
Yeah, and you don't have to agree. I mean, that's not what we're about on the show. We're here to voice our opinions. We're not here to convert other people into our way of thinking. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah.
You know, even from a filmmaker standpoint. Speaking of filmmaking, the filters that they used, the way they did the opening and the way they did the establishment shots for especially the first couple of episodes, I thought was absolutely brilliant. I love how Daredevil is the city blocks all in red, then Jessica Jones is all in blue, Iron Fist is all in green, Luke Cage is all in kind of like that golden yellow. And did you notice that the filters changed every time it jumped perspective? Every time you're starting to follow Jessica Jones, everything has a blue filter. Mm-hmm. When you're following Matt Murdock, everything has a red filter. I thought that version of storytelling was just so well done. And in that one fight scene where Jessica Jones is trying to protect Trish at that meeting when the ninja shows up, mm-hmm. If you look in the background, you can see that there's red lights on the pillars, even before Daredevil shows up in his suit. So brilliant the way they did this. They put a lot of thought into their lighting, into the filters that they used. I thought that it was so well done.
I agree. I don't have much to add to that. I've still got more negatives, but let's recover.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Let's recover with some positive stuff.
Okay.
Because I'm sure we'll talk about it. No, don't worry about it. No, keep going.
Adrian still got more negative. I should have known.
French toasted up, man. Keep going.
French toasted up. Speaking of that, I've heard a lot of people bitching still about Danny Rand. I'm going to go on record and say that I love Danny Rand. I love him so much. I love Finn Jones's characterization of him. I have nothing negative to say about that. Yes, I cringe a little bit every time he very earnestly and very darkly says, I am the immortal Iron Fist. But here's the thing, especially in the Defenders, I don't have to cringe because they're cringing and mocking him for me. This show was self-aware about how ridiculous he sounds. Here's the thing, Danny Rand is a stunted child. That is kind of his characterization. Whereas Matt's over there, we have to take care of this. This is my city. I need to take care of this. Jessica's over there, I've got a drinking problem. I've got all of these psychological issues. Luke Cage is over, I'm trying to be a man of the people. I'm trying to protect my section of the city. Danny's over there. Guys, we can have French toast. We can do that. You can have French toast.
No.
I can heat it up with my hand.
No. Do not equate Danny Rand with French toast.
Adrian, Steve, it has to be done.
It does not have to be done. I will not stand for it.
Danny Rand is the one that would bring French toast to Daredevil. He would do it because he just wants to have French toast. He is that character.
He's hard. It's hard for me to believe that the character that we're getting from Finn Jones as Danny Rand it seems inconsistent. Either the writing is inconsistent with the background of the character, or the acting is inconsistent with the writing. Because we're talking about, again, as you're right, a kid who was plucked from tragedy and raised in a monastery or with a bunch of monks, and eventually becomes the Iron Fist. So yeah, emotionally stunted, I get it to an extent. But at the same time, he was trained with monks to be this Shaolin warrior who was better than all of the other ones and earned this Iron Fist honor, but he's still so wildly emotional. You'd think, and maybe I'm making an improper assumption about the whole monk thing, you would think they would be eschewing emotion, and they would teach him to control his emotions. I mean, didn't in Iron Fist, didn't that one other dude from Kunlun,
he basically did chastise him for that.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, so like,
yes, he did.
Like, so as a lifetime of teachings couldn't beat the whiny bitch out of him, and that's that's an extreme, like that's excessive. But I just to get the point across.
I didn't take him. I didn't see him as a whiny bitch. I saw him as a playful labradoodle. Is more what I saw him as. I saw him as, guys, did we just become best friends? Yup. Do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
But
that's what I saw him as.
I don't have problems with those scenes as much, where he's this playful kind of hippy dippy doofus kind of guy. Like, I get that. It's
like when they show up at the restaurant.
Exactly.
Is that shrimp? No. That's pork. That guy has the shrimp. Ooh. And Danny's just like, ooh, yummy.
But when he flips out and throws a tantrum like every other episode, if that, I mean, how could he be so out of control to unlock
I know what
that,
you're talking about.
Like, it just doesn't. He's either wildly out of control emotionally, or he is just an idiot. He's just a dumb idiot.
Based on that, I can get behind what you're saying. I don't necessarily completely agree, but just because I think that his emotional stunting has a range. But yes, I agree. I think that his temper is by far his downfall. I like his childish playfulness. I think that works well for his character. I would like to see less of the attempt to be dark and out of control angry, because I don't think that Finn Jones pulls that off well. I don't think he marries that well with the playfulness of Danny Rand on both sides. And I just don't care for that side of his character. Maybe that's more my problem, is I don't care for that side of his characterization of it. But I don't know. But yeah, specifically that fight with Elektra where he opens up the gate.
And it's like,
I'm there with you. I'm there.
You see it coming a mile away, and it's, I guess, I don't know if it's just
like, you're taunting me.
Or lazy.
You're making fun of my parents. I have to punch you with the Iron Fist.
Exactly. And it's like, come on, man. Are you really that dumb? Or if you want to punch her, just punch her away from the door. Stay away from the door. Like, it's just...
Exactly. You're the master of Kung Fu, and all you really did in the last season was do a bunch of flippies. So flippy away from her, get her away from the door, and then slap a bitch.
Yeah.
Then you can fight Elektra.
So that's...
Just because women can take punches too. Hashtag equality. Hashtag feminism.
Hashtag Josh Whedon gate.
Touche. Okay, so you've got that.
Going back to Whedon gate real quick. So Brandon Whedon, the worst quarterback ever, his first game, I don't know if you know this if you're a big football guy. I just know because it was one of the most embarrassing things, because when they drafted him for the Browns, he was like 28. Like, he was like an old fucking dude. He had played baseball or whatever.
Jesus.
So they spent a first-round pick to draft this idiot. And in the first game, before the game started, he was like warming up on the field, like throwing the ball or whatever. He's not paying attention, and they unfurl like this giant American flag, like the length of the football field, and he gets stuck underneath it. And it was like, really, this is what we got. So sorry, like
That's it. I could see Danny Rand doing that.
I could see Danny Rand doing it and like playfully being able to pull it off.
Right.
But
right.
And to be fair, I did like I liked the non-tantruming Danny Rand parts where he was interacting with the other people, whether they were making fun of him for being really serious about this really ridiculous sounding stuff,
which is what I loved about it too. I loved that personality with the darker personalities of everyone else, specifically Luke Cage, because they're supposed to. I don't want a season 2 of Luke Cage, and I don't want a season 2 of Iron Fist. I want a season 1 of Heroes for Hire. That's what I want, because that was their series. They're supposed to become best friends. And that's what I want to see. I want to see them become heroes for hire.
Yeah, and you could see it a little bit in the scene where Luke is guarding Danny.
Right.
And so like that was enjoyable. And when he's not throwing a fit or a tantrum or just flipping out emotionally, when he's trying to joke around or trying to be serious but talking about really ridiculous stuff and seeing his interactions, that was good. I loved that. But it just makes it hard for me to believe that he's this kung fu master trained with monks all his life when he's like, what'd you say about my mama? And then fisting up and
fair, very fair. Yes.
Especially
he comes to fisticuffs.
He's not in the dark about their plan.
Right.
They've basically told him, you're the only one that can open this thing. And he's like, well, I'm not going to do that. It's like, hey, your mama's so fat. When she puts on her BVDs, they spell out Boulevard. He's like, grrr.
What you say about my mama totally goes Marlon Wayans on.
I mean, it's just...
Fair. Very fair.
And my last criticism, it's kind of a big one. It relates to the story just in general. There's a lot of things that just don't make a lot of sense. And I think some of it may be due to the time and the pacing issues. But like the way some of the characters operate or some of the consequences or non-consequences for their actions don't really make a lot of sense. So the part where they are all detained in the police station and the police chief is like, I'm not letting you go. And you got to tell me what I want to know or if I'm not letting you go. I'm tired of this shit. And they're all trying to they're all trying to get around it. And then Misty's like, no, just let them go. Trust me. He's like, okay. It's just like, wow, that didn't take much convincing. Like it was, you didn't have much time for that.
Again, another problem that I think could be remedied with more time. With another 2 episodes. You don't even need the full 13. Just 2 more episodes could have cleared up so much.
So that's the minor one, but I think the big glaring issue is essentially they blew up a fucking building in New York, and that's just no one has any problem with it. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, oh yeah, the building. I don't even know what the official explanation was to the people of New York, or it just collapsed or something. Sinkhole. Yeah, very localized sinkhole that blew up a building. Yeah.
It's like, you remember Mar-a-Lago? We got them here in New York. Sinkholes.
But I mean, even still, you'd think the city or the police or someone would be like, hey, you assholes just blew up a building. I don't care what you think was down there or what you're doing. I have no proof of what you're doing, and you blew up a fucking building. You're basically a terrorist.
Fair.
But they're just like, nah, it's cool.
Fair.
No, go ahead. It's cool. Go ahead.
Yep. And on top of that, that there's going to be some rescue efforts down there. People are going to be like, oh no, there could be asbestos down there. People are going to go down. They're going to find the skeleton of a dragon at some point down there.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen. They're going to find the skeleton of a dragon. And furthermore, I don't entirely know what that gate was. Like, did they find another entrance to Kunlun down there? Or was that... No, that couldn't have been a different dragon because that was supposed to be Shaolin the Undying or Shun Lao the Undying or whatever it was. Whoever Danny Rand punched in the heart and then set his hand on fire. So that had to be like a gateway to Kunlun there. So why didn't they just...
know. They don't explain it. You know what I mean? Like there's all this...
Yeah.
There's this big build-up to this reveal, but the reveal doesn't make a lot of sense without any context. They don't give you any context, and then they blow up a building on top of it, and nobody cares. And it's just like... It just seemed like they were like...
You want some context? Here's your context. I'm going to drop a building on it.
Yeah, it's just that there's like, oh shit, we're running out of time. Drop the building on it. Okay,
Absolutely.
There's like, well, what about... Won't people...
Here's your context right here.
Won't people be mad? It's like, no, the cops are fine and sinkholes. All right, I got to hit the back 9 now. It's just
nanobots.
Yeah, I got French toast on the stove. I gotta go. It's like that's the end.
That's right. And Danny's like, French toast? We can have French toast, guys? And I'm like, yes, you can have French toast. You really don't want Danny to have French toast, do you? You get silent every time I bring up Danny with French toast.
He's the worst of the four, and he just hasn't shown anything. Like, what has he shown to make him a defender other than his hand glows and he can occasionally hit somebody with it and it hurts more than a regular punch?
Well, it can knock Luke Cage down.
It can knock Luke Cage down, but apparently so can Elektra. So...
True. But she's also the Black Sky. What that means, I'm not exactly positive.
More context that we don't have. It's just that we're just supposed to take these titles and these descriptions and these accounts from other people about how powerful they are for just take it on faith. But then when it's time to show it, it doesn't make any sense. We're supposed to take on faith that the 5 fingers of the hand are incredibly dangerous, but they're getting their asses handed to them by 4 ragtag superheroes that don't even know how to work together. It's...
Now 4 of the fingers are gone, so all we got left is the middle finger. And it's giving Adrian the middle finger. It's like, you want exposition, you want more plot? Here!
I actually don't.
Gao's gonna stand here.
The plot is
Gao's
done.
just gonna stand here. Nanobots.
She just dies from old age. Then it's over. I'm done with the hand. I'm done with Elektra. I don't need any more of this right now.
I love Elektra. Although her acting was that was one of my negative comments that I didn't bring up. So I'm just going to shove this one down there. I think that Elektra's choices on how she read dialogue a couple of times was a bit, really? Okay. Overall, I think she did a great job, but I would probably give her a B+, not a strong A.
Yeah.
I would even give Finn Jones's dialogue, the way he portrayed his character, I would give him a solid A as well. Finn Jones did not write the script. He's also not his own choreographer. So maybe I sound like a Finn Jones apologist, but I'm sorry. I am, I guess. I thought that he did phenomenal with the character that they wrote. I personally would love to see him stop getting so pissy myself. I'm right there with you, Adrian. But I like his childlike whimsy.
So
I think it brings something else to the Defenders, something that they kind of needed. Otherwise, it would just be like, dude, why don't you all just spike your hair up, put on mascara, and just form an emo band? Is emo still a thing? Is that what the children are doing now?
I think it's ska now.
It's Jesus Christ. They're taking ska now.
I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I think it's it was dubstep. I'm sure there are like 3 generations of music ahead now, but it used to be dubstep. I don't know.
It gotta be. And I've heard that one of their sayings is about a week ago, and I don't even know what that's in reference to, but that's beside the point. Jesus Christ, we're going long, and there's been a lot of French toast talk here.
You're not allowed to cut any of the French toast, by the way.
I will not cut any of the French toast. Final thoughts, Adrian. What's your final thoughts on Defenders?
I wanted it to be so much better than it was, which is not to say that it was bad. It was just there's some glaring issues, just like there were glaring issues with Iron Fist. That doesn't mean it's unwatchable or unenjoyable, but you see shades of what we could have had in what we actually got.
Yeah.
And I think that hurts the most. Because we've been waiting a while for this, and see the culmination of all these characters come together. This is the Netflix Avengers. This is what what we're building towards, but it doesn't seem as big.
They fell short.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as big or as grand. They unite against this faceless enemy that isn't well defined, even after 2.5 seasons of exposition across multiple shows. They fight these big bads, but we don't know that they're big bads because we've only seen a couple of them before, and the ones that we haven't that are supposed to be even better get their asses handed to them immediately. So It's just like the stakes don't seem high. Simultaneously, the stakes don't seem high, and they seem incredibly
like they've never been higher.
Exactly, and it's hitting the point where it's like, if they're talking about completely destroying New York or whatever they're doing, because they sent a shockwave throughout New York, if they're doing stuff like that, there is a certain point where you're not calling Luke Cage, and you're not calling Daredevil, and you're calling Iron Man and the fucking Avengers. So it's just, it seemed like these heroes are supposed to be more local, more like your neighborhood and your town, not the entire city, not the entire country and continent and world. And it seemed like we were given this plot with this worldwide organization that's been around for millennia, but they're getting their butts handed to them by these, 4 random, I don't want to say lower tier because it sounds insulting and degrading, but these 4 smaller time superheroes when they've
Adrian's over there getting their ass kicked by the B list. I don't want to sound insulting, but the B list.
I mean
the B string. They're the practice squad.
They're not Spider-Man. And I think you could even pull Spider-Man out of the top tier. He's very popular, but he's still very local. He's typically not going and solving problems in fucking Europe or anywhere
really
else.
You're pulling Spider-Man off here, dude. That's your poop song.
I love Spider-Man. I think he's a fantastic superhero, but I would not. He's not in the Avengers. I think he maybe gets in eventually. But, I mean, if we're talking about people that are, like, very strong superheroes, if we look at the ones that we have now, you have Captain America fucking stopping World War II or whatever. You got Iron Man should be anywhere at any time with crazy technology. You got some crazy sentient robot thing that can change his density, and you got a fucking person that could literally wipe all the mutants off the face of the earth with a thought or with a wish or whatever. There's just like, I wouldn't put any of the 4 defenders on any of that level, which is not to say that they're bad or they're not interesting or whatever, but it seems like they're given more than they should be able to handle, but they handle it incredibly easily to the point where neither sides of the story, the over the top, more than they can handle plot isn't compelling because you don't think they should be handled, and then they handle it with such ease that it's not compelling either. So it's like it just doesn't seem to line up. It's a strange series because it seems like it could be a lot better and it should be a lot better, which again is not to say that it was bad, but there are just some strange decisions made in there which bring it to me, for me, in that 3.5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 range.
And keep in mind, he gave it 3.5 or 4 out of 5. Even after all of these problems, Adrian still liked it that much. I'm going to give this a solid 4.5 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5 pieces of French toast because I love you, Adrian Steve, because I fucking love you. I thought it was great. I don't think that most of these problems were glaring. I think that lots of these problems are things that kind of start resonating with you after you watch finish the series. It's things that you're so caught up in what's happening to you, you don't realize that a lot of these problems are there until you're done and you're just kind of reflecting on it and you're like, wait, what happened there? They didn't explain that, did that? Well, god damn it. So I think that this is a series that becomes disappointing after the fact, if at all. But again, disappointing is the wrong way to say it because actually I thought it was a fantastic, not fantastic, a great series. Fantastic would mean that it would have a couple of less problems than it did have. But overall, I couldn't be happier with what we ended up having.
Then why isn't it
with
5
8
out of 5?
episodes? Because it's 8 episodes. That's why. With what we had to work with, I couldn't be happier with what they gave us. Because, scratch that. I forgot one of my points. They gave us too much Karen. Give us more Faki. Split the screen time and give us that. The others, the characterization of the other members of the Hand easily could have been remedied in prior seasons, like I said, or if you gave us a couple more episodes, or keep the amount of episodes that you have solid, increase them by 20 minutes a pop, because most of these episodes were only about 40 to 45 minutes long. Give us the full hour. You don't have commercials on Netflix, buddy. You don't need to account for commercial breaks. Give us the full hour. You could have easily solved these problems with a little bit more time.
Let me ask you another question on rating it. In the context of the Netflix Marvel properties, where does it fall for you? If you're going to rank them from
Oh, God,
top to
good
bottom.
question.
Because I would say...
4. I would say 4.
It's the fourth best one, or
Fourth best.
So it's only better than Iron Fist
And
Luke Cage.
yes,
1, 2.
I think it's better than Iron Fist and Luke Cage. For me, it still goes Jessica Jones at number 1, begrudgingly, but I think it gets there. Daredevil 1, Daredevil 2.
Okay, I think that's fair. That's the same position I would put it in. I think you can argue Daredevil 1, 2, and Jessica Jones can all flop positions at any point. They're all very solid.
Agreed.
So.
Yes, and that's why I say begrudgingly on Jessica Jones, because keep in mind, I still maintain that Daredevil Season 1 was the only season so far that properly utilized the 13 episodes. I think Jessica Jones was about 2 episodes too long. But what we had with Jessica Jones, the characterization, the fucking Killgrave of it all, one of the most compelling villains I've seen in quite some time. Frankly, probably the most compelling until I saw Kira on Death Note. I thought it was just out of control good. So, just barely, Jessica Jones gets there ahead of Daredevil. Just barely.
Okay, I think that's fair.
I would say that Defenders solidly falls into number 4 right now.
I would agree with that, definitely. And I think that's good context for people to understand if they haven't seen all of the series, or if they have, and they have their own opinions.
Right. If you didn't want to sit through Iron Fist, you heard too much negative about it. First off, I disagree with most of the negative opinions out there. Just throwing that out there. Or if you thought that, I can't really finish Luke Cage, I'm not really into it, it's better than both of those in my opinion. And in Adrian's opinion, frankly. So, if you've seen it, let us know what you guys think. You can email us, nerdynomicon@gmail.com. You can get at us at Facebook. Join our group, facebook.com/group/nerdynomicon. You can tweet at us at nerdynomicon. We've got a contest going on right now. All you have to do in order to win a free code for a probably subpar game, but hey, it's free. Why not? Go on to iTunes, give us a rating, 5 stars preferably, and a funny review. The top 3 funniest reviews by the time we're done with this contest. We're going to read them online here, and we're going to give you guys your codes. Just so that we know that it's you, because you can't just be like, yeah, this guy said something, but I'm going to take credit for it. What I want you guys to do is take either a screenshot or a picture of your review and email it to us, Facebook it to us, private message Facebook to us, tweet it to us, whatever. Just get a picture of that review so that we know it's you. If you guys really like what we're doing, you guys want to help us keep the lights on, help contributing to make this show get a little bit better. We're branching into YouTube. Holly's videos probably already launched on YouTube by the time that this is up here. Her very first video, and she's getting better as she goes too. If you guys want to help us get better, you can always help support us monetarily by going to patreon.com/artfulgremlins, donating $1, $2, $5. Every single dollar helps. Seriously, I cannot say that enough. And we appreciate everybody that's been donating already. Josh, Duncan, Pam, everybody. We really appreciate you guys.
I think it's important for them to understand, like, if you're giving money to the cause, you're going to get early access to episodes of this, to the YouTube content, Couldn't Be Models. You're funding our French toast restaurant dreams.
Absolutely.
Had to get that
Absolutely.
in there. Keep it coming. Pour your sugar on us in the name of love.
Jesus Christ, Adrian Steve. Okay, that's gonna take us out of it. I don't even know what to say. Until next week, I've been Robbie.
And I've been Adrian.
Let's close the book. The French Toast Recipe Book.